right, so solving linear inequalities. It says to solve each linear inequality other than our no solution ones, we will use interval notation to express the solution sets and graph each solution set on a number line. Remember, what's the only difference between solving an equation versus solving an inequality? Yeah, when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip the inequality symbol. All right, so look at number 6. Actually, move this up a little bit now that we don't need the directions. All right, number 6. What are we going to do? Add the 2. Does my inequality sign change? No. So we get 16. Then what? Divide by 8. Does my inequality sign change? No. Because we didn't divide by a negative number, did we? It was positive 8. All right, so x is greater than 2. So I'm going to go to graph this. Will I be shading towards negative or positive infinity? Positive. And will I be using a parenthesis or a bracket at the 2? A bracket. Why? Because it's equal to. And then I like to graph it before I do my interval notation because I can see my interval notation now on my number line there. So I can see it goes from 2 to infinity. So the 2 at a bracket, infinities always have a parenthesis. Do y'all want to practice the set builder notation a little bit more? Or you think you're good with it? Let's go ahead and do it. So even though I didn't ask it, let's do our set builder notation for this one. So set bracket, x such that, what would my inequality be? I'm just getting infinity, so I'm going to put x. Is x getting greater than or less than that 2? Greater than, is it equal to the 2? Yes. And so there's my set builder notation for it. Number 7, what are we going to do? Okay, divide by that negative 5, which will make that sign flip. So x is greater than or equal to negative 6. So negative infinity, positive infinity, and it's going to be negative 6. If x is greater than or equal to negative 6, am I going to shade towards negative or positive infinity? Positive. And will I use a parenthesis or a bracket? Bracket, because it's equal to. So I can see my interval notation. It's negative 6 to infinity. So negative 6 had a bracket. The infinity has a parenthesis. And my set builder notation is x such that, what's my inequality going to be? Yeah, and why does that look familiar to me?
Isn't it always going to be the same as that?
Yeah, it's the solution that we got when we solved it, right? Look at 6, it worked out as well. Alright, so it's always a solution that we get when we solve it. The only time we have to be careful is when it has that, like if it says the word and or the word or, and we're having to graph 2 of them together, then we'll always write, like if it's an and statement, we'll write it as one big inequality that has the 2 inequality symbols in it, like we did on some of the previous ones where it had 2 less than symbols. We would have to write it like that, even though our problem might say the word and in it. Otherwise, it should follow our solution. All right, so number 8. What are we going to do on number 8? Okay, distribute the 4. So 4x plus 4 plus 2. My inequality, 3x plus 6. I didn't even ask you if it changes because we didn't move anything around even. We just worked on one side. Now what? Oh, we can combine like terms here, can't we? Let's do it. Go ahead and do that. That way we're not moving as much. So 4 plus 2 is 6. Okay. Okay. So subtract this 6. So we got 4x is greater than 3x. Let me rewrite that there. So 4x is greater than 3x. But I still have to solve for x, so what am I going to do? I got to get my x's together, don't I? Okay, so let's subtract the 3x. X is greater than 0. Is 0 a solution? Yeah, it's a number. So our answer can have a 0 there. Okay, so x is greater than 0. And so let's graph it. X is greater than 0, so that's going to the right towards positive infinity. Will I use a parenthesis or a bracket? Parenthesis. So I can see my interval notation on my graph. So 0 to infinity. And my set builder notation is x such that, and my answer was what? X is greater than 0 for my inequality. So there's my two ways of writing this solution. Alright, so number 9. What are we going to do? Alright, distribute that negative 3. And what does that give me when I distribute that? Negative 3x minus 6. And now what? Add the 11. So 2x, my inequality, negative 3x plus 5. Good. So 5x, my inequality, and 5. And then just divide by that 5 in front of the x, right? And so what do we get? X is less than 1. My inequality doesn't change because I didn't divide by negative. So x is less than 1, so that's towards negative infinity. Parenthesis or bracket? Alright, so I can see using my graph, it's negative infinity to 1, both of them with parentheses. And set builder notation says x such that my inequality is x is less than 1. Alright, so what are we going to do on number 10? You want to make them a decimal? You can. We could get rid of the fractions, right? How would I get rid of fractions? Yeah, multiply by the least common denominator, which in this case would be what? A 5. So I can multiply this by 5, whoops, that by 5, and this by 5. Remember, do it to all three, including the 7, all right? So if you're going to do that, you get what? 35 minus, that 5 cancels, so you have a 4x, your inequality. That 5 cancels, and you have a 3. And then that's just what we've been doing, isn't it? So let's subtract our 35. So negative 4x, my inequality, negative 32. Divide by negative 4. What happens when I divide by negative 4? Flip the sign, and what is that? What's negative 32 divided by negative 4? What's a negative divided by negative? What's 32 divided by 4? There you go. So negative infinity to infinity. We have an 8. It's greater than 8, so we're going to shade towards positive infinity. Parenthesis or bracket? So we can see it's 8 to infinity. That's x such that inverse x is greater than 8.